theme here, and playing expressive melodies is something that's really going to bring your music playing to life, because the melody is the part of the song that we hum to ourselves and we remember the most. And there's 5 actually critical tips that you need to know to actually play your melodies much more musical and get a better sound out of the piano, which is actually kind of the theme over the next few weeks. So this is a live lesson. Feel free to say hello in the chat. Let me know that you're here. Let me know if you can see me, hear me. But for now, we will get right into it. And I want to first talk about what is a melody. So hold on, I meant to do this one. So what is a melody? A melody is usually the top line of music that stands out, and it's usually the part you hum to yourself, like I just said. So, like something like furry release, right? It's gonna sound something like this. And that is the melody to furry release. The other parts in the left hand, that is what we call the harmony, which kind of just fills out the sound. And it makes sense, because if you isolate the left hand by itself, that doesn't really sound like anything, right? It sounds like it's supposed to be in the background to the melody, right? So melody is in the foreground. It's what you're going to remember the most. Harmony is in the background, and it's used to fill out the sound of the piece. If you just have melody, it sounds kind of hollow, right? But by adding some notes to accompany those notes, it gets a lot easier. All right, guys, so let me know if you are here in the chat. We will get on to more. Actually, I do want to talk about this next, which is what are steps, what are leaps, and what are jumps? And while you guys read that little slide, I want to get something ready here, because I always love to have the chat here. So just give me a second, and I think we'll be good to go. There we go. So feel free to say hi. I always love to hear from new and returning students. In fact, well, we'll save that for a second. So let me just get more into the lesson here. I keep pressing the wrong button today. And I want to talk more about like the components of a melody. And the 3 components of a melody are steps, leaps, and jumps. So let's take a look and talk about what those are. So a step, right? So if we were talking about steps on the piano, we're talking about going from one note to the next, just going in order on the piano. So they can go like this. So those are steps. And you can even step up chromatically, meaning you're going from basically white key to black key, white key to black key. So these are stepping up as well. It's just the spacing between the notes is a little bit smaller. So remember, stepping, it's basically like playing a scale. You're stepping up to the next note. It can be like that, or it can be like this, right? And so when you are talking about a famous melody or something, Jingle Bells, the end of that first part of the melody are steps, right? They're right in a row. Now, what about this part? Well, those are just playing the same notes. And what about this? Oh, we've skipped over a note, right? We went from E to G. Well, guess what? That's called a skip. So you're skipping over every other note. And then lastly, we got to talk about what a jump is. A jump is just larger than a skip. So something like for release again begins kind of stepping back and forth between those notes. And then you're going to have a leap there, a skip, and then step, skip. Just like that. Now, what is the purpose of all of these? Hello, we got Dabble35. Excuse me if I got that name wrong. We got some new people in the chat today. Chicago is watching. Well, okay, I'll be careful then. If Chicago is watching me, welcome, Bishop. We got Terry again here. Got your name right today, Terry. Trixie's back again. And the janitor guy. Good morning. And Franz, of course. All right, let's continue, guys. Leave me a like if you're liking it so far. You're learning something, because it lets other people know this is a quality lesson they can learn from as well. Now, I got to get into more details about the usage of steps, leaps, and jumps, because it's not just... Actually, I just realized something, guys. I must... I did write this when I was tired. Oh, excuse me here. It should be steps. Oh, man. It's a great day, you can tell. Skips. And this is supposed to be leaps. I don't know what the heck I was thinking last night. Like I said, sometimes when I review this, I'm a little bit tired, but we got it done. Anyway, steps, skips, and leaps. And there's a certain way that music uses those. But first, I have a question for you. And that is, what is your favorite melody or piece of all time? Remember, melody, top part of the song. So that would be the melody to that K. Oh, I forget what that is. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I need to know in the chat, what is your favorite melody or just your favorite song or piece to play on the piano or your instrument that you play? Let me know in the chat. And the reason I really love these questions is that when we get together and we start chatting in the chat together, we get a conversation going and we actually learn a lot more. I don't know about you, but when we have a good chat going, the live stream's a lot more fun because it gives me more to go off of. I can take your awesome questions, and then we can keep things going. If I don't have enough questions, we kind of run out of steam. So let me know, what is your favorite melody or piece? I'd love to hear from you in the chat. In fact, I'm not moving on until I get at least one answer to this question. So I'm going to be a stickler for this. So question is, what is your favorite melody or piece? Now, let me think about mine so I can share with you guys. You know what? I actually do. Actually, excuse me. This is Sonata 16 in C major, the one I was thinking of. I really like this melody. Let me show you what this melody is like. I didn't play it perfectly, but I really like this melody. It's very memorable to me whenever I play this piece, even though it's a simple melody. I'm humming this to myself literally all day. So that's one hallmark, I think, of a good melody, is if you just can't get it out of your head. You know what I mean? Now let's analyze this melody slightly. I'm just taking a look just to kind of go over some things we talked about and to dive into the experience right here. So we're going from the beginning to there, right? And we're looking at that melody. Now let's take a look at the first few notes of that melody. Now, what did I just play? Well, I started on C, and then I played E, G. So we started out with some skips, right? And then we leaped, and then steps. So as a good usage of steps and skips, which we will talk about more on how to do that in a minute. And then as you get to like the second line here, what's going on there? Well, clearly a lot of stepping, actually a lot of scale work going up and down. Another reason we learn our scales, because when you see them, you're able to play them a lot easier. And one thing I do want to tell you, whenever you have a sequence like this, or a pattern like this, oops, sorry. And then you play the same pattern just a note down. And you play the same note down. And that is what we call a sequence. In fact, a lot of hand-in exercises are sequences. You're just taking that same idea and you're pushing it somewhere else. You know, either up one or down one. Now let's see some of we actually got some really good answers here. Thank you guys. I appreciate this a lot. Layla from Los Angeles is very windy and cold. Ooh, so cold for you in Los Angeles must mean it's like 75 today, right? I always get so, I don't know if I actually get jealous, but I get a little jealous when people are like, yeah, I'm in California and man, this week was so cold. It was like 72 or like 68. I'm like, man, you're so lucky. Anyway, let's continue. Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. That one's so good. I don't think I can get away with playing a lot of these songs, unfortunately, just for, getting demonetized and all that. Some of these are more recent. November Rain, okay, from Terry. Eruption by Van Halen. Awesome. So you guys, oh, okay. So the janitor guy, you are a hardcore rock person, aren't you? Van Halen. Awesome. Favorite piece was Just My Imagination from Temptation. Okay. I listened to that recently. Actually, it was probably a year ago already. I had to listen to it for was it a video I did? I did. I listened to it. There's a video I did like a year and a half ago. Nobody watched it. It was something like what is it? No. Rhythm patterns in popular music. That's what it was called. I talked about it there, I think. Okay, song I really started to be able to feel the pulse in my head without counting. That's awesome. That is one thing that I want to say. Like, if you have a favorite song, there's some drawbacks to doing that. Okay. One of the great things about playing a song is that you kind of know the rhythm, so it's easier to fall into the rhythm, but it's also easier to get the rhythm wrong because, believe it or not, sometimes the way we think about things in our head, it's not exact. Like you may try to reproduce a melody and you realize, have you ever done that? Like you hear a melody and then you work it on piano and you listen to it again and you're like, wait, it was actually slightly different than I thought. And I guess that's the downside is your brain sometimes can get these solid ideas in there and you don't realize it's slightly wrong. But anyway, that's awesome. That's cool. Canon in D is a great piece. Maybe we will talk about that pretty soon. Let's keep going. 45 says Layla. Oh, that is cold. That is cold. That's actually not much warmer, than it is here. It's like 35 today. Anyway, let's continue, guys. Oh, yep. All right, guys, let's continue. We have more to talk about with melodies. That's what we're doing today. Let's look at some. Actually, you know what? I want to go over another slide. No, stop. I want to go over another slide, and then we'll talk more, or I'll show you more about melodies. But let's do this. Here it is. So I want to talk more about steps, skips, and leaps. I did get it right this time, at least. So steps are stable but predictable. So let me show you. Right? This is steps. Sounded good. Nothing wrong with it, but kind of boring, right? And the next thing that it says is skips add a little interest, but they're still kind of predictable. Okay? So when we were, if we were doing all skips, so that would be a melody in all skips. It sounded okay. It was a little bit more interesting than the stepping, right? Oops. Just like that. Now, leaps, the last one, is unstable and unpredictable. I can't speak today, as usual. And they are good for intrigue, adding intrigue. So what I want to tell you is that melodies, a good melody is going to use mostly steps, right? Because they're predictable, but they're stable. They sound good. That's what I mean by stable, by the way. Few skips. So, adding a little intrigue, but still kind of predictable. And then fewer leaps. A melody with all steps is too boring, right? Right. Of course. Let me show you some examples. So when I was playing earlier, there it is. The Sonata 16 in C major by Mozart. That's right. It's K545. I always forget the number, even though I shouldn't. This is like one of the most famous pieces. Anyway, we were looking at the melody, right? And I was breaking it down into that it starts with some skips, right? And then what happens? It leaps. So it starts out almost predictable. Ooh, you hear that? And they even went to, maybe I won't comment on that so much right now. But anyway, they skip, and then leap. And you hear that added some interest right there, right? Because if they kept doing this, I just don't think that melody is as interesting. So it's really cool that it leaps back the other way and then it ends with some steps. And so it kind of used exactly what I was telling you, where a good melody uses mostly steps, although this one I would say uses mostly skips, which is okay. It uses fewer skips, and then it uses the least amount of leaps, right, or jumps. It only had one, like right there. And then it kind of resolves itself with just some steps. So remember that when you're looking at melodies, that it's not just going to be steps, it's not just going to be skips, but it's going to be mostly steps and skips and very few leaps. What happens if a piece is all leaps? Well, are you tired yet? Me too. It doesn't sound like anything. So that's why you need the steps to create kind of the structure and the predictability. Same thing with the skips. And then the leaps, like I said, are give kind of an unstable feeling. And that's why you don't use as many. Any questions so far? Let me know. Let me know. Let's continue here. Probably what we'll do, because this is a shorter lesson, I do have more I want to talk about here, as you can see. What we may do is, let's kind of do some hunting here. Not literally, but what I want to do is maybe pick some melodies. And yeah, actually, you know what? Let's just do this really quick. And let's play you some melodies and we'll talk about them, okay? So, let me erase some of this stuff first. So this is just, what is this? This is Progressive Studies by Czerny. And we're taking a look at this number 4 here, as you can see. And I want to talk really quick about like repetitive notes in a melody. Because we really didn't talk a lot about like what if a note just hangs out and plays the same thing and isn't, stepping, skipping, or anything. Well, there's a place for that in melodies. And I would say it's really good in like marches or pieces in 3 like this one, or something where it has like a certain character to it. Bump, 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 ba-da-dum, bump, 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 ba-da-dum. It has a certain type of dance type of quality to it. And it works well with this type of song. So So dissecting this a little bit, we're starting on a repetitive notes. Maybe just call that playing in unison. And then look, you skip and then step down, skip and step down, and then not really any leaps. And one thing I do want to show you they commonly do, and after this I'll talk to you about how to make your melodies more musical, which is why we're here, right? One thing they commonly do I want you to pay attention to is there's a pattern established here, and then that pattern is sort of repeated, but the notes are doubled, and they are actually stacked in thirds. So a lot of time with a melody, they'll introduce it, and then to make it more interesting, they'll add a note on top. Oops. And that's not just to make it drive you crazy, it's actually to add interest into the song. So I'm glad we're doing this because it actually gives me a lot of cool things to talk about. Let's do this one. Allegro vivace, number 6 here. What type of melody do we have right off the bat? Well, let's take a look. Steps, skips, steps, skips. However, no leaps yet. And if you notice, it sounded kind of predictable, didn't it? Just kind of sounded like doing a like your standard exercise. But our first leap comes in right here, and I want you to listen for it. Because remember, leaps are added in to add intrigue. And let's see if it does that successfully. Let me see if I can play this here. And sure enough, See how that really added in a lot of intrigue by adding in that leap right there? It broke us from that predictability. All right, Lolo, that's my cat's piece, leaps. Oh, that's the way your cat plays? I got it. All right, guys, let's continue here. Again, let me know any questions you have about melodies along the way. Looks like I need to adjust my camera here a little bit. Sorry about that. I'll have to fix it next time. But yeah, all right, yeah, let me know any comments or questions you have about melodies. And let's talk a little bit. We'll look at more examples. Let's talk a little bit about phrasing, shall we? So phrasing is really where the rubber meets the road. It's really connecting everything we learned so far and getting it to sound more musical, because music is a lot more than just playing notes, as you'll find out from the video I'm going to release tomorrow. But phrasing is really, really where it comes into play. So phrasing helps connect ideas together, and this is similar to how language has sentences with punctuation. Right, so if I talk without punctuation, I just keep talking on, and I don't really know when I'm going to stop or when I'm going to pause. I'm just going to keep going. Eventually, it's going to be really hard for you to tell what I'm saying and keep track of what I'm saying and really follow along. See? So we add periods, you know what I mean, and punctuation and pauses so that language makes more sense. And paying attention to phrasing is very important. Let's look at some examples, shall we? In fact, I do have some other examples in mind, but let's take a look at the example I just played, right? And there's one thing I want you to take a look at. See these arcing lines? Those are called slur lines, and those help you know that those notes kind of complete one idea. So it's instead of like this, where it's all disjointed, it's going to be more like this. See how that was all one complete idea? And instead of lifting up off of each note, like a staccato, you really want to slur them together. Only lifting up off this note once you start to play the next one. It adds kind of a gliding motion, so you want to make sure all these notes are kind of glided together. And it makes perfect sense, too, with the rests, because there's rests right here, right? And after a complete idea, a lot of times there's some sort of pause, right, with our punctuation. And so this is a complete idea. And again, now, as you can see, that these are slurred together, these are slurred together, but there's no rest this time. So this is kind of how you approach it. Let me just play it one time. Yeah. So what we're going to do is the top note up there, and then we have the next notes that are in thirds. So we're going to kind of slur those together, but have like sort of a gap between this and the next measure, right? Because those are not slurred together right here. So it's going to be like this. Right? Oops. Let me keep trying. I got it right that time. So remember that the first two notes are connected together, and then you have to have that little bit of gap there. It's not actually a rest. You're not resting for any period of time. You're just lifting up off the keys, lifting up off the pedal, just to create the slightest amount of breathing space for the next notes. Now let me play this whole line. I know what's happening. It's this again. Okay, there we go. Now let me play the whole thing. The first line here, but no phrasing. Okay, this is what it'll sound like. It wasn't terrible. I added in some of the slurs just because I'm used to doing that, but I really didn't have those crispy kind of silences between some of the notes. So let me play it again and really try to focus in on this to show you the difference. Oh, might have to play it again. Let me try again. Man, one more time. I can get it. I know it. And you can see it took me a few tries because these are the tiny details in the music. But you can tell it sounded a bit better when I was really paying attention to the phrasing versus not. All right, any questions about that? Which Czerny opus is this? 139. Never mind. Okay. All right, Franz. Nice as the janitor guy. All right. Okay, guys, and gals, I should say. I know that you're all here. I know Chicago is watching. I didn't forget. I forget who said that. They started out the live stream with Chicago is watching. Don't mess up. Chicago's watching. All right, anyway. Let me know any comments or questions you have about Melodies. I do have a few things I want to run over real quick. So, some announcements. Are you ready? Tomorrow, I'm like 99% sure a new video is coming out. I still have a little work to do on it today. That's what I want to say. And I'm pretty sure it'll be out tomorrow. I'm going to do my very best to make that happen. And then the goal is to get more consistent with the upload schedule again. So we're back on live streams every Saturday. We've been doing that the last couple weeks or so. So next Saturday at 10:15 EST or EDT, Eastern Daylight Time. Same time as right now, basically half an hour ago. Next week, we'll be meeting again at the same time every Saturday morning. And so join us for that. I would love to see new and returning students come to that. It's always fun. We learn a new topic each time, and we come together, and I get amazing questions, and we learn a lot more together, okay? So then I want to tell you is that Sundays, I want to get back to posting a regular video every Sunday. I don't know if I'm going to be able to achieve that. Well, I'm going to get one out this week, and then I'm going to try to get more on a thing. So what I want you to know, you're like, what, this is confusing, is that every Saturday we have a live stream, and then I'm going to try to get back on the schedule with every Sunday being a recorded video. But for right now, just know that Saturday is the live streaming day. I think if you know that, then you know when to hit us live. You can always watch the recorded video later, right? I mean, you can watch the live stream later too, but it's not really the same experience. Rio de Janeiro is watching, yes. I love when you guys have a sense of humor like me. It's the best. All right, guys, I want to talk about this. This is another announcement. And then I'll check to see if you have any questions, and then maybe we'll end it a little early today. But let me know any questions you have. Maybe we can, maybe I'll show you a couple more melodies, and we'll go over that. But I want to talk about this really quick because I don't want to forget. So 5 reasons you should sign up for the courses over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com. So number 1 is that these courses are great for beginners and those that have a foundation already. Number 2, you can learn piano, music theory, rhythm, and anything else you need to become a well-rounded musician. Number 3 is learn at your own pace. These are courses. If you run into a tricky week where you don't have as much time, you can always catch up the next week. And again, it's at your own pace. And better than YouTube, since you get instructional videos along with notes, worksheets, and real sheet music to play around what you're learning. So a lot of people ask me, why would I sign up for courses when I can continue just watching the YouTube channel? Well, the answer is you get instructional videos like you do here, but unlike YouTube where we just kind of touch on a topic and then move on, this one I introduce you to a topic, you have notes on that topic, you're going to have worksheets to fill out to enhance your knowledge on that topic, and sheet music to play around what you're learning to make sure that you're not only learning each topic, but mastering it, well, practicing it and mastering it as well, which is so important when learning piano. And then the last reason is that it's a great way to help the channel and invest in your own music education. So check out pianolessonsontheweb.com when we are done. It's going to look something like this. There it is. So yeah, when we're done, feel free to take a look around. You can see what my courses will offer you. It's a lot of the stuff we already talked about. And then, of course, I do have courses grouped by where you may be, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. So if you want to learn more about a course pack, you click on it. And then any of the courses that are included, you can click on those too. And it'll take you to the course description page, kind of giving you some more info on what's covered, which is really important. All right, any questions about anything, guys? Let me know. Oh, yeah, one last thing is that as a thank you for coming by today and just being a fan of mine, paying attention, use code YouTube at checkout, and you can get 15% off any course or course packages. It doesn't matter. Even if they're currently on sale, you can get another little discount. Isn't that cool? All right. Everybody, any last minute comments or questions? We might end it a little early today. I do want to do this really quick though before we adjourn. Let me know any last minute comments or questions. And then what we're going to do is we'll do one more melody analyzation. Oh, I kind of like that melody. Let's take a look at this one. All right, this will be our last melody for today. It actually has a lot of interesting things about it. Again, we have repeated notes. And then you may be wondering, what in the world is that? Well, that's a grace note. I'm not going to get super into it right now. You're kind of adding in an extra note right before what we call the principal note. So the grace note is F, and the principal note's E, and it's going to be like this, kind of like that. And we call that ornamentation, if you have to know. And then one thing I want to point out is that in this melody, notice how there's repeated notes right there, and then these are slurred together. So you really, when you come into this melody, you really want to listen for that and play that. Those three notes at the end of the melody, or the measure rather, are slurred together. So it'll sound something like this. I haven't played this ever, so let me give it a few tries. And I really like the ending there, where it goes ba bum ba bum 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 ba. I think that's really cool. Now, what's going on there? Maybe we can kind of figure out why does it sound cool, you know. And just remember all the things I said. So we're starting from this D, third measure over right here. And oh, we start immediately with a leap. And I said that leaps add intrigue and a little bit of instability. Let's try it again. So here we go. So we have a leap, and then a step, and then skips. Just like that. And it kind of really, remember, we have mostly steps and skips, and then fewer leaps, but the leaps are added in to make things interesting. Because in the beginning, you don't have any leaps. And notice how that kind of really helps set up like the framework, but then it's like, oh, that's kind of sounding boring. Let's add some intrigue. Oh, okay. Now we're going to a different place with it. So really just keep those things in mind. And the most important thing I want you to get out today in terms of playing expressive melodies is this. Pay attention to phrasing. Okay, when you have notes that are under a slur line, that means that those notes are meant to be like connected together to form an idea. And I use talking in sentences as my favorite analogy for this, right? Because I don't just talk on and on without any punctuation. Then you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. And I think you get that idea, right? So let's take a look at what we got in the chat. Wait, somebody. All right, guys. All right, one thing I will ask if you come in here, please be patient. You know, I am teaching. I don't see the chat every second of the day. But let's see what you guys. We got Jeffrey Boyley, you got Skrillex here. What up, guys? Welcome. I don't think he reads the chat, guy. What are you talking about? The third and seventh note of the scale is sometimes said to be some of the best notes to run into in a melody. That is very true, to use in a melody. Is this true or just preference? That is very true. I forget the inner details of it, but I've definitely heard that that is true. I will say that like jumping to a third is like, it really is a good jump, right? Or a good leap. Like, so this is what I'm doing. Right? Like, ooh, stinky, but in a good way. Ooh, not bad. Let's try some other things. I actually think the reason 3 and 7 are so good is that I'd have to really get into the music theory of this, but they resolve well. Like if you have, you kind of expect that one note to go there, and you also expect this note, 7th, to go here. So I guess my guess, because I don't remember off the top of my head, is that the 3rd resolves easily to the 1st, and the 7th resolves easily to the 1st. So if you do like a leap, right, and then resolve it, it sounds really good. If you're doing it the other way, you can resolve it down that way. Again, I'd have to get into the music theory of this to really get you guys to understand, but we'll continue working on this stuff for sure. But that is true. That was from Bishop. Skrillex, I watched your entire series on the beginner piano stuff, and I think it's 14 years ago, but it's the best, bro. Not gonna lie. Well, thank you so much, Skrillex. I appreciate that. You're welcome, Buzz. Hi, bro. Hi, me. Wait, are you the same person? Are you Jeffrey and Skrillex the same person? Is that what's going on here? You guys are like having a conversation on your own. I want to say, Skrillex, thank you for all the support. If you want to check out a new version of that playlist, I did make another one. And I actually recommend you check it out because I do cover some things. I did cover some things that I didn't cover in the other one. So if you check out the description of this very video, there should be a new playlist for you to watch, which I recommend. But yeah, thanks for the support. I'm glad that that old series still gets some legs and still helps some people out. That's awesome. Nope, I tuned in. Yeah, I did check it out. It's great also, not gonna lie. Awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that you checked out the new one as well. That's awesome. So feel free to come back. We're gonna meet again next week. I'll have a new topic for you. We are gonna meet at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. EDT is what it's called. But if you check on YouTube, like the night before, I'll have it posted, and that'll give you like because YouTube automatically converts the time. And so you'll know, it'll say like starting in 15 hours or whatever. You probably know how to use YouTube, but I just want to say you're welcome to come out anytime. I love to see new and returning students. I will say this, since we're kind of concluding for today, there is a video coming out tomorrow. I'm going to do my very best to get it done and out to you guys. I think you guys will like it. I don't want to say too much about it because I'd rather have it be a surprise. So guys, I want to say, let me know any last minute comments or questions you have. in the meantime, I want to say, not that. I want to say thank you. Skrillex says, oh, wait, excuse me. Your name is Skillix. Do I need a teacher for the piano, or learning from you guys is enough? If you can get a teacher that's local to you that you can meet up with in person, I recommend doing that. If you have the funds and you have the access, do that. But I would still watch the videos around here as a supplementary tool. But if you don't have access to that stuff, then using this is still certainly a totally fine choice. The main benefit you'll get with a direct teacher is they can give you feedback, on how you're sitting and all that stuff. My ability to do that for you is a little limited. But however, that doesn't mean that you can't learn a lot. One thing I do want to tell you is if you haven't picked up one of these piano lesson books, the Alfred Adult All-in-One course is probably what you want to check out. Usually I have a link in the description, maybe not, but you can find it on Amazon. And then the courses I have over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com, will help you do something similar. In fact, you can get both of them and use them together. They're not specifically designed that way, but I've had a lot of students use them together. Okay, we're different people, says Jeffrey Boyle. All right, let me get sure. All right, Buzz. I want to say thank you to all that came out today. Let me know any last-minute comments or questions. Thank you for coming by, Skillix. And Jeffrey Boyle, hopefully I see you again sometime. Buzz, thanks for coming by. Let's see what we got. Jeffrey. Oh, Bishop, thanks for coming by. Aspira, thanks for coming by. I don't know what you said, but hopefully it wasn't too crazy. Marcia, thanks for coming. If I buy all the courses, does it make me a member? No. Oh, that's a good question. So the membership on YouTube is a little different. Membership on YouTube, you just click the join button and it allows you to contribute, a monthly amount to our, what we do here on YouTube. I'm still thinking of some ways, some things for members, some benefits for members. But I will say this: if you sign up for all the courses over on my website, you don't get access to being a member here, but you're going to get a lot more out of joining my website than you will. Like the whole membership thing is just to really allow students to offer more support to the channel. Whereas the courses, you're getting a lot there, right? So I would sign up for the courses, maybe not worry about the membership unless you sign up for the courses. And I'm like, man, I really still want to contribute regularly to what Tim does over on Piano Lessons on the Web. So to answer that. Let's see here. The janitor guy, thanks for coming. Franz, Maple Bob. Madison, Wisconsin is watching. Monica, thanks for coming by. We got Marcia. Trixie, the janitor guy again. I think I said your name 4 times now. Layla, thanks for coming by. Yeah, and everybody else. Thanks, everybody. And if I missed your name, I do apologize, Franz. Thank you. You're very welcome. Make sure you have 88 weighted keys. Heck yeah, bro. Love your work. Keep it up. I will. Thank you. You're welcome. Was a good high quality keyboard one can purchase? Yeah, make sure you have 88 weighted keys. This is from the janitor guy. Everybody always waits to the end to ask me this. I recommend this. Give me a second. Oh, we did this already. Let me do this really quick. Give me a second, guys. All right, let's take a look really quick. Wait, where? Full screen laptop. That's what I want. Sorry. I was pressing the wrong one. Honestly, Yamaha makes a good collection. Even just make sure that it says 88 keys. weighted keys, and that's usually pretty good. A lot of these entry level Yamahas, like the P71, and any of these ones that are about $500, these are really good to start with. Okay, if you're really serious, maybe you can get a higher end model. But Yamaha or Roland is another good brand. And I would just make sure that they have 88 weighted keys. That's like the most important thing. You also maybe want to consider whether it comes with a music stand or pedals. You may have to pick those up separately. All right, you're very welcome, Janitor Guy. Thank you for your answer. You're welcome, Marcia. I really want to play Chopin Preludes, Opus 28, number 24. Well, that's awesome. Chopin Preludes are always good. They're quite tricky to play, unless you've been playing a very long time. And yeah, you're welcome, everybody. All right, guys, I think I'm going to end it just 15 minutes early today. We covered everything we needed to cover and then some, answered some good questions. I hope to see all of you out next week. Same time, same bat channel, if you know what that reference is. So, yeah, guys, thanks for coming out today. It's your piano teacher, Tim, here. I'll see you again real soon. And yeah, thanks for all the support. Thanks for those that have supported the channel over the years, from the regular viewers to the mods to people that sign up for courses over on my website. Thank you so much. Without your help, we wouldn't still be here doing this. So thank you so much. Anyway, it's been your piano teacher, Tim, here, guys. You know who it is. And thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Also, leave a like if you like this video.